world was shifting, empires yet unborn. Two mighty kingdoms stood separated by a wild, unforgiving desert. On the east bank, the kingdom of Zarnath glimmered under golden spires and marble towers shimmering in the midday sun. On the west bank, the kingdom of Dravos flourished, its people molded by iron-forged discipline, its citadels carved into rocky hills. In Zarnath, Queen Aliera ruled with grace, beloved by her people, her voice a soothing balm after years of famine and war. She had forged peace, built markets, and let the arts bloom under her reign. Across the desert, Dravos was built on strength, on steel, on conquest. King Marek ruled with stern resolve, his soldiers disciplined, his decisions sharp as blades. Yet at the edge of that desert, where caravans creaked under the weight of silks, spices, grain, a fragile peace existed. Traders crossed, caravans mingled, and for a while the two realms shared quiet tolerance. But beneath the shimmering surface of that calm, a different story stirred, one not of kings and soldiers, but of fate, of human hearts longing for more than borders and crowns. One evening, under a moonless sky, a young envoy from Dravos arrived at Zarnath's gates, a scholar, humble, carrying scrolls of ancient lore meant for exchange. His name was Seren. He bowed before Queen Aliera and spoke softly of distant tales, of stars, of shared history. And when Aliera looked into his eyes, in that quiet exchange, a spark, subtle yet unbreakable, ignited. They met in the hall of alabaster columns. He read to her from dusty scrolls by candlelight. She showed him gardens lush with night-blooming jasmine. In that secret world beyond eyes of courtiers, their souls touched, bridging two kingdoms in ways no treaty ever could. But even as their whispers wove dreams of unity, far across the sands, King Marek looked to the horizon. He heard of Zarnath's growing power. He saw riches flow across the desert, and his heart, hardened by years of conquest, regarded that kingdom not with curiosity, but with envy. The stage was set, because when empires see love as weakness, only one thing often remains: clash. Welcome to Origin Paradox. Peace, betrayal coiled in shadows. A trusted general in Dravos, General Varkos, ambitious, ruthless, watched the envoy Seren return to Dravos after months in Zarnath. He smiled when Seren brought back tales of marble towers and jasmine-lit gardens. But Varkos did not see poetry or unity. He saw weakness. He saw opportunity. He whispered lies into Marek's ear. "King, your lands are threatened by a rose-tongued diplomat, spinning webs of influence. Zarnath grows bold. They eye your borders." In the great hall of Dravos, Marek's stern face hardened. The empire he built on sword and iron would not be surpassed. So the seeds of betrayal were planted. A caravan laden with grain and peace gifts turned to ashes at the desert's edge, flanked by Dravosian soldiers. Back in Zarnath, candles flickered in empty halls. Night birds cried mournfully. Queen Aliera stood before burnt timbers, the symbol of peace and trust destroyed. Her grief was sharp as swords, colder than steel. Seren's plea came too late. He begged the queen to flee, to save her people. But Aliera's pride and love would not allow abandonment.
she stood firm as stone among her people. And the armies clashed across desert sands. Dust rose, blades sang, the sky glowed red with fire and blood. Dravosian spears shattered marmoreal gates, marble towers crumbled under siege. Jasmine gardens, once radiant with life, were trampled, their sweet scent drowned by smoke. In the chaos, a Lyra saw Seren fall, struck by a poisoned arrow as he shielded a fleeing child. The love that dared to bridge two worlds died in his eyes. A silence followed the storm. Dravos had won, but at what cost? Their banners flew over ruins, but in their hearts grew a hollowness more devastating than any battle.
When dawn broke, the world had changed. The palace of Zarnath, once a monument to art and peace, lay in ruin. Its people scattered, its gardens gone. Eliera, broken, had vanished into the desert night, leaving behind only whispers. Seren's scrolls scattered by wind across dunes, waiting, hoping to be found again. Dravos reigned supreme. General Varkos stood silent by the throne, his ambition fulfilled. King Merek surveyed his empire, but his eyes held no pride. Instead, he carried the weight of ghosts. Because victory, won through betrayal and blood, birthed a hollow empire. The armies marched, borders expanded, but the bones of peace lay buried beneath sand and ashes. Years passed. The people of Zarnath, survivors, gathered in distant lands, telling stories of a queen whose love dared cross deserts, of a scholar whose words tried to unite worlds. Their stories became legends. In taverns, by hearth fires, they whispered, "Once there was a kingdom of marble and jasmine, where love was stronger than steel." In Dravos, the citadels stood, but inside their walls something faded. The laughter of artists, the song of gardens, the quiet hum of knowledge. The empire ruled, but something human slipped away. Perhaps, thought those wandering survivors, perhaps one day, from the ashes of what was lost, a new kingdom might rise. A kingdom built not on steel and conquest, but on memory, on stories, on love and understanding. Because empires crumble, thrones turn to dust, but stories survive. Remember them. The fallen walls, the burnt jasmine, the lovers torn apart by greed and fear. And know this, where hearts once dared to cross deserts for love, there lies hope for the future. And so, as the dust of forgotten battles settles, and the last torch burns low inside ruined halls, we are left with a truth far older than the kingdoms of Zarnath and Dravos. Empires rise, empires fall, but the stories we carve into the heart of time, those never truly die. Across the vast deserts where Seren once walked, travelers still speak of a queen who stood against the storm. They whisper her name when the wind turns golden at dusk. They say the sands remember her steps. They say the stars still recall the scholar who sought peace over power. Their kingdoms vanished, swallowed by the centuries. Their monuments crumbled, their archives burned. But not their love, not their courage, not the fragile hope they dared to dream in a world born of iron. And perhaps that is their greatest legacy. For every generation since has looked upon their story and asked the same question:
What do we leave behind when our crowns turn to dust? It is not marble that endures, not gold, not the armies that march under moonless skies. It is the choices we make, the compassion we show, the bridges we dare to build, even when the world demands war. In the ruins of ancient empires, humanity finds its reflection. We see our own flaws, our own hunger, our own longing for connection. And within that reflection, a spark, small, trembling, but unbroken, reminds us that even in the darkest chapters of history, hope survives. The story of Zarnath and Dravos is no longer just theirs. It belongs to all of us now. A reminder that the heart of humanity beats louder than any war drum, and that from the ashes of grief, a new dawn will always find its way. May their echoes guide us towards a world that chooses unity over fear, love over conquest, and peace over the shadows of the past.